Welcome to another episode with the Doc of Real Estate, bringing hopefully what is great content, information, perspective, and strategies that you can use to put yourself in a better situation when it comes to purchasing real estate, selling real estate, flipping real estate, developing real estate, and most importantly, building wealth beyond means in real estate. So, Kay, what you got for us today?
First, I want to open up with what you just accomplished this past week.
Lord have mercy. 4 days, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I had to go sit in Hanover in a recertification class for my lead and asbestos removal supervisor license. Was a certification. People go between license certification, but yeah, they call it certification. And it was a great refresher course for the simple fact that we all know that any homes that were built before 1978, there are lead regulations and guidelines from federal level, regulated by the EPA, and also from a state and local level. And DC is very big because a lot of homes were built in the early 20th century, 1910, 1906, 1901. We've seen homes built as early as 18. In the late 19th centuries in DC, we've been forcing to work on those homes. But more importantly, just a quick lesson on that, because this may be good information for people to know. It was a myth that kids were eating paint chips, right? Kids are not going around eating paint chips off window sills, right? But what was happening is that the lead dust particles that would be created from the lead paint in window seals and window casings and all of those things, kids were inhaling those things and ingesting those things and causing all kind of, health issues, high blood pressure, brain disorders, so forth. So they put guidelines in place that any contractor working on those homes that were built before 1978, especially if you're doing home renovations where you're doing some kind of level of remediation to contain the lead, encapsulate it in place, or completely remove it, abate it, that there's specific safe practices that you should be using to make sure that the homeowner and all of the residents of that home are protected. And it was a great refresher course. I mean, we literally went through the exercise of how you set up the work area, using the HEPA filter, why it's important to use a HEPA with the HEPA filter, what are the minimum federal regulations in terms of how well and the material that the HEPA filter should be made out of. So it was a great course. So it was a great course in terms of just making sure that our team is really practicing those safe practices as a supervisor, and making sure, more importantly, that we contain those lead particles or particulates. We completely successfully remove them if need be, and we leave no traces of lead dust behind or lead particulates behind to make sure that our clients stay safe for many, 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 many more years to come. And more importantly, the environment stays safe. So yeah, Kay, even though it took 4 days of my life, which is very grueling to have to sit there, because I had one of them teachers. As soon as you take your laptop out, he's like, nope, if you're gonna take your laptop out, this class is not for you, because I need your full undivided attention. So I couldn't check any email, couldn't really take the phone calls I would normally take. So those of you who were very patient and me calling you back hours later, charge it to, yes, that lead research class. So yeah, Kay, some good stuff.
All right. What are some key renovation projects that can significantly increase the value of a home before putting it on the market?
Kitchens and master bedroom, owner suite. We don't call it master bedroom anymore for other, cultural reasons, but I'm not gonna get into that, I digress. But nevertheless, yeah, the kitchen, and think about it, right? Kitchen, if you can afford 1 out of 3 renovations, the renovation you invest in is the kitchen. Why? Because most people, that's like a communal area for people to hub, for people to congregate in the home. Kids will sit at the kitchen table and do their work while, mom or dad is cooking. So the kitchen is really a key focal point that buyers really focus on, how nice the kitchen is. And then the place that the owners, the king and the queens of the home, are going to spend most of their time is in the owner suite. So that would be the second place you put, great emphasis on. A nice owner's bathroom, fresh paint job, any like trim work that you can put in to kind of jazz up the owner suite always becomes, a great thing, a great selling point. Really get the owners excited about seeing themselves in that owner suite. And then the third thing, all of men want their man cave. So if you got the means, the third thing again, before you invest in anything else in the home, after the kitchen, after the owner suite, would be the basement, right? It's always a great feeling to see, the husband face or the fiance face or the boyfriend face light up when he walks down that stair and he start to look around and he can see his man cave. So those are the three key things that if you have the means, make sure you renovate those things, because they do add, aesthetics to, a home that needs a little TLC. And more importantly, people just look at that as one less thing that they have to do in an important space in which they're going to spend a great deal of their time.
Can you provide tips on cost-effective renovations that still add significant appeal to a home?
Oh, that gets tricky, right? We look at homes in levels. We look at homes in builder's grade, mid-grade, and high-end, right? Builder's grade, for lack of better words, cheap stuff. Y'all know Doc gonna always keep it 100 with you. Builder's grade is cheap stuff, right? So you got to know your product and you got to know your market. You can't be putting cheap stuff in a home that's expected to have high-end stuff, and people come in like that particular type of buyer is going to be a sophisticated, savvy buyer, and you just shot yourself in the foot. Make the investment. So there's no such thing as a cost-effective way when it comes to materials. But there can be a cost-effective way by simply calling Tebow Residential to let us do the work. I know that was a shameless plug. But now, seriously, we come in, we do the work, we stamp the work, and we stand by the work. And more importantly, the work looks high-end, regardless if we're installing builder's grade, mid-grade, or high-end grade. But that's where you really got to understand your product, and you got to understand what is needed. There's no need to put a roll faucet and a low-end home. That kind of buyer would never appreciate it. That kind of buyer probably wouldn't even know what a roll line of bathroom fixtures are. So it just doesn't make sense. So more importantly is just to have an agent, not general contractors, because most general contractors really don't get into the real estate side of it. We've just been very fortunate. We're licensed and credentialed in both, because we service both. But have an agent, notice I didn't say general contractor, that really understands that market and what level, builders, mid, or high end, that you need to put in that property to make it pop, to get the most out of it. And that comes from a well-experienced agent who knows design finishes, knows the market, and knows what they have to do to put your property at the top of that market with the property that's sold at the highest price in that market in a 365-day given period of time.
What are some common mistakes to avoid when renovating a home for sale?
Ooh-wee! I love everybody, but do not go and hire the people that stand out in front of Home Depot, because they're cheap labor and you just want somebody to get in and get out to do the renovations. That is a big liability to you. We actually had this happen, not with a client, but we had this happen with a neighbor of a client that we were doing a concierge program on. They had put their house on the market maybe about 2 weeks before we started the concierge program on this project. And by the way, our concierge program is we come in, we fully renovate a client's home at no cost to them. We make the property sell for more, and they simply pay us back the renovation at cost, at settlement. So they make more money. We've added another value add service to the partnership, and it's just a beautiful thing. So that, in a nutshell, that's what our concierge program is. But going back to the neighbor that we were talking to, I had two guys from Home Depot. They installed new vanities, new toilets, did some light renovation work throughout the house. However, they cut a plumbing line and didn't put the coupling on right. They didn't seal it right, whatever. Flooded the whole entire basement. They called these guys back, and of course they're nowhere to be found. They're not coming back. Cheap labor is not always cheap. Golly, cheap labor is not always cheap. Now, Kate, you asked what are the things to avoid, right? Avoid using contractors that are not licensed or certified. If a contractor is not licensed or certified, you run the risk of owning that work 100% when they leave your job, because they're not coming back. Let's be honest, they're just not coming back. Really, look, they got the money to do cheap labor for that one day, and they're on to the next job trying to find more cheap labor. They haven't done what they were supposed to do to even be respected and acknowledged to be a credentialed licensed general contractor. So that's a red flag right there. So again, stay away from that. The next thing you want to stay away from, common mistakes to avoid when you're doing renovations, is, man, I know they got all these TV shows, and I promise you, they make it look so easy. YouTube make it look so easy. The dude on TikTok make it look so easy. But know your limitations, right? And I'm not saying I don't believe that you can do your own renovation, because I do believe in you, right? But you're trying to get paid. And you're trying to make sure that, put yourself in the buyer situation. Here's where it has to be a win-win for everybody. That's one of the most prolific phrases I love from Keller Williams. How do we make it a win-win for everybody? Because we truly strive for that. If you were a buyer, would you want you doing the renovation for your house that you're gonna pay top dollar for, because everybody wants top dollar for their project? Yeah, I want you to sit there and think about that again. If you were the buyer, would you want you doing the work that you're gonna do for a home that you want top dollar for? And truthfully be told, the truth of the matter be told, the answer is no. I'm a licensed general contractor. I'm not a master carpenter. I'm not a master electrician. I'm not a master HVAC guy. Nor will I profess myself to be. So I wouldn't want me doing electrical work on any of my homes that I'm building for my family. And I'm a licensed general contractor, because again, you want to just make sure you pay it forward in good spirit and good energy. So go out and get the right people to do the right job so that you pass on a good product to your potential buyer and get top dollar back. The universe will reward you with top dollar when you've done your very best. So again, that's a common mistake that people look at YouTube. They look at these do-it-yourself shows that they see. Oh man, I can change out all, my P-traps on all my plumbing, or I can change out, whatever, the gutters, I can, patch the roof, whatever. Just don't do it. Again, because here's the other thing too that you're gonna run into. If they get a good home inspector and they go to test these things and they go to look at the quality of these things, the home inspector can fail your work, and then you're back to square one anyway. Or you can start something that you thought you can do that you never did before and mess it all up. So you just wasted your valuable time and materials to only have to go back and pay somebody to do it anyway. So again, look, know your limitations, and don't just think you can do all of your home repairs and renovations to put that house on the market, because a lot of people shoot that shot and they come in airball. You don't want to be that person.
So how do you prepare a home to pass an inspection as a seller?
So that gets tricky too, right? Yeah. Okay, you asked me some tricky questions this morning. You making me think this morning.
People want to know.
So, how do you prepare your home for the market? Again, I think that's another agent question. And let me tell you what your agent should be astute in walking you through. One, do you want to sell your property at the highest selling point of the market? Do you want to be right there in between? Or do you just want to get rid of your property because of whatever reason? It's a headache, it needs a lot of work, you don't want to put the money in to have the work, your agent doesn't have a concierge program to do the work for you so that they can make more money, everybody make more money, and you just pay them back at the table. Like, that's your agent, that's the first question they should ask you. What are you looking to get out of your property? So let's go at the very steps. If you want to sell it as is, then guess what? You don't have to do anything, because there's an as is clause in a contract that says this property is being sold as is. So somebody's going to have to see value in that or not. And it's your right to sell your house as is. So you don't have to do anything to get ready for a home inspection or get ready for the market. Just put your house on the market as it is. That's what as is means. The next level of that is, okay, I want to put some renovation in it. I got good equity in it. I'm not, trying to put 50,000, 100,000 to make it sell at the top of the market like the house down the street did. I'm good if I get 50, 60, 100,000 less because I got equity in it. This is fair price. I know my neighbor down the street didn't put much in and they got this price. This is where I'm looking to target. And great. That's where you need to have an astute, experienced agent and say, okay, if you want to get in the middle of the market, these are the minimum repairs we need to do to make it pop to get to the middle of the market. And they can best advise you on that. And again, they should be advising you on putting the money where first? Huh? Where? The kitchen. There you go. What's the next place? Owner suite. What's the third place if you have the means? Basement. Very good. And then everything else can get cosmetic work, light coat of paint, right? Now, if you're trying to get top of the market, again, you need to have an experienced, astute agent to not only advise you on the full overhaul renovation that's going to be needed, but also to either have a program like our concierge program where we have a construction team where our construction workers work for us. We have 53 construction workers on our payroll that work for our company. They're our employees that we train. We just had an all-day training on Monday, on this past Monday. So the reason why they need to advise you on that, because you want to know what that cost is going to be to you to get it to the top of the market. And then the second thing is once they have identified that cost to you, you want to figure out where the money is coming from. We front the money for our clients because it's a partnership. The more money they make, the more money our company can make. The more we can put them in a situation where they don't have to front the funds and be in a financial hardship, the more we bring greater value to the partnership. So we will come in and do a $100,000 renovation on our dime, letting the clients know what our labor costs, what the material costs are going to be, what materials are going to be used, what the property is going to look at, and all they do is pay us back at settlement. We made that property increase by another $175,000. That's right, that's a $75,000 spread they just made on that. So your agent needs to be well versed enough to know which one of those levels, as is, middle of the market, top of the market that you're shooting for, and then what is that plan of action to get you to that point and what that cost is going to be to you. And again, having the resources, means, team to pull all that together on your behalf, because we work for you. My clients know that once you give us the keys to your castle, sit back, kick your feet, we'll see you at the settlement table because we're going to get you top dollar. So that, K, to answer that question, is predicated upon what the end goal is.
All right, so you're a realtor. So what would you tell a realtor that is trying to become the astute realtor that you mentioned?
Do your homework, right? You got to put in the work. You just got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. You got to study them do-it-yourself channels. You got to study construction. You got to pull a team together so that you can bring that value to your client. Say, look, I got a team. Even if you're not a licensed general contractor, we're licensed realtor in Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. Licensed general contractor, Class A, Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. Licensed commercial contractor, Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. So we have the licenses, we have the experiences, we've made the investment, we do the homework constantly. We're constantly learning about construction, how to make construction more efficient for our clients so that they can save. Do your homework. And if you don't have interest in, doing the renovation construction part of it, then it's, part of your job to bring a team where you come to any client and say, look, I've assembled this trusted team. We'll take care of all of this. In the spirit of transparency, this is what this means. Here's a plan, here's the cost, here's how everyone gets paid at the end. Let's go to work. Do the work and get your team together. Do the homework, get your team together to become that astute agent that will be well-rounded in bringing the renovation into the transaction sale of the real estate for your seller so that it's a seamless, easy process. And also on the buy side too, you need to be able to, walk your client to a property and say like, yeah, this is lipstick on a pig up in here. Man, they just threw some stuff on, yeah, let me show you some things that would be alarming and of concern. Because the worst thing you want to happen is your client get in a home as a buyer and the house start falling apart and you had no mention or you had given them no indication that there could potentially be issues, or they get to a home inspection and the home inspection just point out everything under the sun that's wrong with that property, and they're looking at you like, man, I just spent $500 for the home inspection. You ain't saying none of this. Like, what? Right? That happens, right? You don't want to be the agent for that. So take the time, be a student of the game, learn the game, love the game, master the game, and your clients will always come out on top of their game. Yeah, you like that.
All right. With all that being said, what are some words of wisdom you have for us today?
Oh, you love these words of wisdom, Kay. I don't know how wise I may be, but I love sharing my little nuggets. One thing I've been dealing with a lot this week, in Virginia, our broker at Keller Williams Capital Property, love you, you are amazing. Because it's very rare I have to bring my broker in, but she stepped into a situation and brought the situation to a place where we can get back to rationality. People in business can become very irrational because of two things. Any idea what those two things are? Feelings and emotions. I'm gonna say it again. Feelings and emotion. When it comes to business, I respectfully say this. There is no place for your feelings in business when it comes to your fiduciary, professional responsibility of taking care of business. Now, yeah, you want to feel good. We're not talking about that. We're talking about ill feelings. We're talking about bad energy. We're talking about people getting caught up in their feelings because things are not going the way they want them to go. Your feelings don't make you right. I literally had to say that to someone. I had to say that to someone. I'm going to say it if I said it to a client. I'm not going to say it if I said it to a staff member, an employee. But your feelings don't make you right. Just because you feel some way doesn't mean that that's the right way to feel in a situation. When things don't go right in a constructive way, how do we look at the problem as a team, understand our roles and responsibilities in addressing that problem so that we can get to the root cause of that problem and move on from that problem? Now, when you bring feelings into that, well, I feel I shouldn't have to do this, or I don't feel like you did X, Y, and Z, right? The moment you use that word feeling, brings an energy into that situation, into that partnership that can be very, very deconstructive and very, very counterproductive, and it doesn't make you right. So you ask yourself, how is it a win-win for everybody? What is the right thing to do? It's not about me being right, about you being right. It's about what is the right thing to do that we can identify that is right, that we can collectively agree that is right. And if you get to a point where you can't even identify what is right or wrong with that person in the situation with, it's okay to bring in a trusted third party person who has no dog in that fight to say, okay, I've heard both sides of the story, but truthfully speaking, the right thing, if you all are trusting me to be this voice of reason, is X, Y, and Z. And then everyone can relent to that and say, you know what, you're right, let's move forward. But feelings and emotion has caused transactions not to go through after everyone has put so much hard work and energy and effort into that transactions. Feelings and emotions have caused people to lose money because they had just ended up in a super irrational place. And feelings and emotions, most importantly, has damaged many relationships. And no one can live in this world by themselves. God, not to get biblical, saw that it wasn't good for Adam to be in the garden by himself, so he made Eve. So right there it tells you we all have to have good, healthy relationships, because that's a part of living. That's a part of life. And that's a part of, just making sure that you are living life in a meaningful way when you have meaningful relationships. So watch your feelings and emotions when it comes to business, because it can make business bad real fast. And when business is bad, then time is wasted, efforts are wasted, and most importantly, we go in business to make money to support our families. You should never waste an opportunity to build your wealth and to be compensated justly for the work that you've done, because you have been the consummate professional and you have kept the feelings and emotions out of it. Now, this person, I almost said client. Let me stop playing. But this person, you know, that's the beautiful thing, that, you know, you can, when they go low, you go high. Michelle Obama. You can, you know, hold your chin up high and say, you know what? Let them have that. Let them feel that way. Let them go through those emotions right now. What do I need to do to remain the ultimate consummate professional in this situation so that we can move forward to our end goal that has never changed from day one, and taking the feelings and emotions out of it. So, okay, with that being said and done, I hope that helps someone about, again, like look, let's be honest. When I wake up feeling sick, or I wake up feeling bad, and I got 3 closings today, or I got 3 inspections today, 3 important inspections, got to pass inspection, move on to the next frame, part of construction. Regardless of what is going on, my clients have entrusted me to do a job, period. And the truth of the matter is, if I'm being real truthful, they don't care if I feel sick that day. They may care, but they really don't care when it comes to their business, and they shouldn't, because I have a job to do, period. And it's my job to figure out how to have systems, processes, and places in the event that I cannot be there to perform, to make sure that the business of my clients still move forward with the highest level of quality, the highest level of client care and client obsession, so that my clients know that we take care of business. My feelings and emotions has no place in that. They don't care about that. Hey, Doc, can you sell my house for $2 million? Okay, Doc, great. I'm giving you this contract. Make sure you sell my house for $2 million. Hey, Doc, your dog died. Okay, I'm gonna send you a car, but we still getting that $2 million for your house. Hey, Doc, 5 of your employees had to, you know, get terminated. 5 of your employees quit. All right, Doc, that's great, but we still on schedule to make sure I can move in my new build construction on time. It's my job to find a way to keep business proper and removing the feelings and emotions out of any situation, so that I have long-lasting, great relationships with all of my clients, so they truly remain a client for life. And with that being said and done, Kay, there's my 2 cents for the day. Until the next time, I'll see you at our next construction site.